Recently, we traded in our 2017 Toyota Tundra on a brand new Chevrolet Silverado 2500. I'm going to explain why we did it in this episode of Travels with Delaney. Welcome back, everyone. My name's Patrick, and if this is your first time here at Travels with Delaney, I'm so glad you stopped by. We're your channel all about RVing and living life to the fullest. You see, RVing is great, independence and freedom to hit the road and explore America, but sometimes, let's face it, RVing can be just a little challenging and frustrating. And therefore, that's why we have this channel. We're just trying to share our 17 years of experience so that you can have a great time in your RV and avoid some of those frustrations. Now, today I'm standing here at Happy Acres Campground in Angola, Indiana. If you're coming to the Midwest, maybe gonna visit some of the RV manufacturers in Elkhart or check out the amazing RV museum up that way, Happy Acres is a great location to use as a base camp. Today, what I want to do is just really talk about why we traded our 2017 Toyota Tundra in on a 2022 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD, and it all deals with weights. Now, many people when they're buying an RV really ask two questions. Number one, how much does the RV weigh, and how much can my tow vehicle actually tow? And I did that for a lot of years myself. I was one of those people that thought, hey, my SUV says it can handle 5,000 pounds, so we can buy a 5,000 pound trailer. But the truth is, most of the time, that's not really the kind of towing situation you want. Number one, it may not be enjoyable for you, and number two, it may just not be safe. So you need to really dive into not only just what your RV weighs and what your tow vehicle weighs, but a lot of other weights as well, and we're gonna break those down for you. Now, one of the first places to start to really find out what your vehicle can tow is normally it's in your owner's manual. You're going to need to dive into the owner's manual like I had to do with my 2017 Toyota, and many times there will be charts and you have to figure out what engine and what axle you have, and then eventually find what it is rated for. Now, one of the things I love about this brand new Chevy Silverado, something apparently GM is doing, and maybe some of the others are going to do it as well or are doing it, but they put stickers right here for me that tells me all the numbers I need for my specific truck. It's all right there, and it's for this specific truck, and that just makes it so much easier to try to find out what those are. And yes, knowing what your tow vehicle is capable of pulling is one number, but it's only one number. So we're going to talk today about several weight ratings that you need to become familiar with and find out what your tow vehicle is rated for. We're going to use my Toyota as an example, and that will explain why we ended up trading it in. So the first weight was that actual trailering weight, and on the Tundra, the manual clearly stated that we could haul up to 9,200 pounds. And our trailer, fully loaded, is only 5,700 pounds. So that was a big old check mark, yes. I also looked at what was the gross combined weight rating, and that is the total weight of both your tow vehicle, all of the passengers, cargo, and your RV attached. For our Tundra, it was 15,360 pounds. And when we went to the CAT scale, we were only at 13,000 pounds. Check mark number two, things were great. But then I started digging into a couple more weights that really did concern me, and one was payload. Now, payload is how much weight can you actually put into your tow vehicle. See, your tow vehicle has a curb weight, and that's basically a fancy term for how much does that truck weigh from the factory with a full tank of gas, and that's it. Once you know that curb weight, you can look at the gross vehicle weight rating for your tow vehicle, and you subtract out that curb weight, and that's going to give you payload. Now, my Toyota Tundra was rated for 7,000 pounds, and when we subtracted out the curb weight, we had a payload of around 1,300 pounds. Now, that sounds probably like a lot, but our RV has a tongue weight that comes in somewhere between 800 and 900 pounds, depending on whether we have fresh water in the tanks or not. That only leaves us 500 pounds. Then, when you add in me and my wife, our two dogs, some tools, instantly we were out of payload. And that was where we had to give it a thumbs down on that actual weight rating. Now, another weight rating that I really want you to be aware of is right here, your rear axle. Now, your axles on your tow vehicle are going to have a weight rating. On our Tundra, our rear axle was rated for 4,150 pounds. When we went to a CAT scale, we were actually over that number. And that also was another thumbs down for us. Between being over on payload and being over on rear axle weight rating, we knew we had to make a change in our tow vehicle. And that's why we decided to upgrade to this 2022 Silverado 2500. Now, how does it stack up on weights? Well, this truck actually has a gross vehicle weight rating of 10,550 pounds, and it came from the factory with a payload capacity of 3,400 pounds. It also has a gross combined weight rating of 24,000 pounds. And again, remember I said with our Tundra, we were only weighing in at about 13,000 pounds. So we're really good there as well. And the rear axles are rated for 6,000 pounds on our Silverado, so no issues there. With this particular tow vehicle now, we are in great shape. We can bring whatever we want in the bed of the truck, and we don't have to worry about overloading the truck and being overweight. It also opens up possibilities for the future that we may be able to upgrade to a little bit larger camper or fifth wheel, and we'll still have plenty of power and braking and be well within our limits. Now, I'm sure somebody is watching this video and saying, oh, Patrick, those manufacturers underrate these vehicles by at least 10%. And you know what? You're probably right, because, well, why would they rate them at the absolute max? I mean, there's issues to consider like warranties and liability. But I was talking to my friend Jonathan from the YouTube channel Tree Talker the Traveler, who just happens to be a lawyer, and I said, Jonathan, and this was his response.
Now, while circumstances can differ, as well as the laws between jurisdiction to jurisdiction, it's important to know that in most jurisdictions, exceeding your manufacturer's mass gross weight requirements is a violation of either statute or regulation. These statute and regulations are put into place for the safety of those on the road, and violation of them can subject to both criminal and civil penalties, fines, or worse. In addition, a violation of a safety regulation or statute in many jurisdictions can also be the basis of what is known as negligence per se. Per se being the Latin word for in itself, and what it means is that in most cases, a plaintiff must prove you violated a standard of care that caused the accident. But in a negligence per se case, if they can establish that you violated the statute, that your vehicle was overweight, that in and of itself will be evidence of negligence. And the plaintiff will not be required to prove that to find liability against you, the defendant. All they'll have to establish is damage and causation of those damages to that negligence. So, violation of your manufacturer's gross weight may subject not only to potential criminal penalties, but also additional civil liability in the event there is an automobile accident. For that recommendation, I always recommend people stay within their weight limits. Back to you, Patrick.
Thank you, Jonathan. I really appreciate you sharing that information, not only with me, but all of our viewers today. And I know Jonathan would appreciate it if you take time to check out his channel after you watch our video. And I'm going to put the link to their channel down below in the description for this particular video, so you can go over and check out all their RV content. Now, how do you know what your trailer and your vehicle weigh? Well, the best way to find out is to go to the CAT scales. And I have a video on how easy it is to use the app from CAT scales, so you can pull right up, weigh your vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that right up here for you. You watch that video next. It's going to talk you right through the process. And until next time, everybody, we'll see you on down the road. Bye.